The Widow, episode 07. A year after the death of her beloved Ricardo, Lavra, the widow, lives surrounded by mourning and bitterness. Her heart, an impenetrable fortress, repels any approach. But then Daniel appears, a charming and mysterious man who seems capable of melting the ice surrounding Lavra. Will Daniel be able to reach the widow's closed heart? Or will Ricardo's brother, envious and obsessed with Lavra, prevent her from finding happiness again, using dangerous and unexpected methods to destroy her new passion? The shadow of the past threatens the chance of a new love in a dangerous game where danger is around every corner. It was a dark and starry night, the kind that seems hand-painted in the sky. The city slept except for Lavra, who couldn't close her eyes. The memory of Ricardo, her beloved husband, haunted her like a ghost. A year had passed since he left, leaving an immense void in her heart, a black hole that no sun could reach. Her house, once a radiant home, was now a silent mausoleum, every corner whispering his name. She felt imprisoned in her own grief, a prisoner of the past, immune to the light of the present. Lavra had sworn never to love again, never to open her heart to another man. She had built walls so high around her heart that it seemed impossible for anyone to climb them. But life, like a stubborn river, always finds its way. A mysterious smile, an intense gaze, and the strength of a man determined to conquer his space. This was Daniel. He appeared in Laura's life like a ray of sunshine on a rainy afternoon, insinuating himself into her darkness with a gentleness and respect that surprised her. Daniel was not insistent, but patient. He didn't force the issue. He observed her, understood her silence, her pain. And gradually, like the approaching spring, his presence began to warm Laura's frozen heart. He made her laugh, something she had forgotten she was capable of, and his delicate touches seemed to undo the bonds of grief that held her captive. But Laura's happiness was a threat to someone. Alberto, Ricardo's brother, always in love with Lavra, felt his soul inflamed with anger and jealousy. He never accepted that Ricardo was Laura's chosen one, and his brother's death, for him, had been a tragedy, but also an opportunity. Alberto watched from afar, like a snake in the grass, his eyes fixed on Lavra, his heart corroded by envy. He thought Lavra was his by right, a possession he had lost, and the idea of seeing her in another man's arms was unbearable. Alberto was not a man of half measures. He was a man of action, and his plans, secretly woven, were dark and dangerous. While Lavra and Daniel shared precious moments, moments of tenderness and hope, Alberto was plotting his revenge. He followed the couple's steps, a sinister shadow that loomed over their meetings. His presence was latent in the air, a silent threat that only Lavra seemed to feel. She began to suspect, to feel that she was being watched. She felt a chill down her spine that didn't come from the cold night air. The feeling of being followed, pursued, put her on high alert. A romantic encounter by the sea, under the full moon, marked a turning point in Laura's life. Daniel, with all his sensitivity and charm, managed to unravel Laura's defenses, making her lower her impenetrable walls and confess her feelings. It was as if a river was finally breaking the dam of her suffering. However, Alberto watched them from a strategic point, at a distance, his face contorted with fury, his fists clenched. Laura's happiness was a thorn in his soul, an open wound that bled incessantly. That same night, something terrible happened. An accident. A runaway car, a violent collision, a muffled cry in the dark. Daniel was seriously injured, and Lavra, seized by panic, embraced him, crying desperately. It was as if happiness, only just bloomed, was being violently ripped from her hands. Alberto, watching everything from afar, smiled sadistically. His mission was not yet over. He had only begun to weave his web of revenge, and his next trap was already prepared to strike Lavra. The danger still surrounded Lavra, and she had no idea that her suffering was only beginning. The shadow of the past, represented by Alberto's revenge, continued to hover over her new love, promising more darkness in the story. The police arrived, confused, investigating the seemingly fortuitous accident. But Lavra felt, in a shiver that chilled her blood, that it was no coincidence. Someone wanted to separate her from Daniel, and that person, she knew deep down in her heart, was Alberto. The cruel doubt tormented her. Had it been a real accident, or had Alberto planned everything? The answer, she knew, would come with time. But time, in this dangerous game, seemed to be an ally of Alberto, not hers. Lavra, still trembling, held Daniel's bloody hand, promising herself that she would discover the truth, no matter the cost. The reborn love, now threatened, became the force that would drive her to fight against the darkness that surrounded her. The fight for happiness had only just begun. But a photograph, found in Daniel's pocket, showed Alberto in a bar hours before the accident, with a mysterious man whispering something in his ear. Lavra feels the ground open up beneath her feet. Alberto not only knew about the meeting but was directly involved in the accident. Rage boils in her blood, mixed with fear. Alberto's game was more dangerous than she imagined, and Lavra, now armed with the truth, was ready to confront him. Alberto's revenge would be his ruin. Laura's love for Daniel, her strength, and her courage would become her greatest weapons. The fight for happiness now had a new and dangerous chapter to be written, and Lavra was ready to write it with her own hands. However, looking more closely at the photo, Lavra notices something even more frightening. The man whispering in Alberto's ear ... is Ricardo. The face, though partially obscured by shadow, is unmistakable. Is Ricardo alive? Or is this another piece of Alberto's elaborate plan to destroy Lavra and everything she loves? The shock paralyzes her. The truth haunts her with a weight greater than any suspicion. The fight for happiness has become a fight for survival. After all, who is really behind this entire web of lies and betrayals?